Hello, and welcome to Not Fake News. Got an article from Jack Dunfrey. UC Berkeley's police chief offers terrible excuses for her failure. Failure is, at times, unavoidable. Circumstances beyond one's control can occasionally arrange themselves in such a way that makes success in a given task impossible. The mark of a leader is not the absence of failure in his past. It is the manner in which he copes with failure when it occurs. When things go wrong, the capable leader accepts responsibility, learns from the experience, and adapts his thinking and his organization so the failure does not reoccur. He does not rationalize the failure and attempt to spin it in a hope that a gullible audience will judge it as a success. Which brings us to last week's event in Berkeley, where Milo Yiannopoulos was to speak on the campus of the University of California. As everyone knows, Mr. Yiannopoulos' appearance on February 2nd was abruptly canceled when rioting broke out outside of the venue where he was going to speak. Black-clad anarchists broke windows, set fires, and attacked people hoping to attend the event. All of this took place as officers from the campus police department watched from inside the building. Whatever one thinks of Mr. Yiannopoulos, and let it be known, I'm not a fan. It was once generally accepted tenet of American citizenship that even people we find obnoxious have a right to speak their minds, especially when invited to do so. The Berkeley College Republicans had invited Mr. Yiannopoulos to the campus. Not anymore. If a sufficient number of thugs can be mustered, and if the police are unable or unwilling, which I think it is, to enforce the law, then the Constitution's guarantee of free speech is subject to the whims of the mob and becomes meaningless. On the websites for the University of California Campus Police, there appears Chief Margot Burnett's overview and philosophy, which includes mission. We are committed to working in partnership with our diverse campus community, so together we can enhance community trust, reduce the incidence of fear and crime, and promote safety. We pledge to protect individual rights and safeguard property for our students, faculty, staff, and guests. We support the university's academic research and public service missions with professionalism, integrity, and sensitivity. On the same page, Chief Burnett claims that her department seeks to be a leader in campus law enforcement and emergency services, both by following best practices and by developing standards to which others will aspire. She further states that her department believes in truth and honesty, and that it aspires to hold itself accountable. These are worthy goals. Sadly, on February 2nd, Chief Burnett failed at all of them. Clearly, individual rights were not protected and property was not safeguarded. And if Chief Burnett feels she was following best practices in permitting the flagrant flawlessness the world saw on the Berkeley campus that evening, I would be keen to learn what they might be. Okay? I'm going to repeat that last thing. Clearly, individuals' rights were not protected, and the property was not safeguarded. And if Chief Burnett feels she was following best practices in permitting the flagrant flawlessness the world saw on Berkeley campus that evening, I would be keen to learn what they might be. Lastly, in regards to the truth and honesty, and in holding herself accountable, her too, Chief Burnett failed. Failed miserably, she did. It was terrible. And she wants to be the leader, the one to look. She wants her station to be the one that all the police stations look to and inspire you to be like. What a hypocrite. This woman is delusional. She was quoted in Sunday Los Angeles Times story justifying her inaction against the campus mob. Taking action against the rioters, she said, would have created a lethal horror situation. Then she resorted to the modern police chief's rationalization for failing to uphold the law. We have to do exactly what we did last night to show tremendous restraint. Just let them rip our streets up whenever they don't want someone to be heard, she said. Oh yes, restraint. In other words, Chief Burnett will protect the individual rights, protect the property, and restraint. In other words, Chief Burnett will protect individual rights, protect property, and all the rest, just as long as doing so doesn't require her officers to use force against people whose opinions are favored by school administration and faculty. On the Berkeley side website, Chief Burnett did her best to obfuscate the facts and further rationalize her inaction. We are getting a significant amount of criticism from outside the East Bay area. And what she's saying right there is, but everyone in the East Bay area loves it. And my only response to that is crowd control situations are different than military exercise or an active shooter situation, she said. It's just like a different approach and a different set of tactics that you have to use in order to not escalate the situation, in order to control it. People have a hard time understanding that. I get it. No, she doesn't. It's all well and good to show restraint so as not to escalate a situation. And no police leader worthy of the term would deny it. But when a situation has already escalated to the point of vandalism, when it has already escalated to the point of physical assault and helplessness, and assaults on helpless innocents, police have a duty to intervene and bring the lawless conduct to a halt. Of course, crowd control tactics are different than military exercises or an active shooter situation, and we read that, right? But there are recognized tactics that can be employed in these situations and should have been at Berkeley. These do not involve taking shelter inside a building while rioters are ramping beyond the doors just out below. Chief Burnett further said, in situations like that, we understand that if we go and we engage with the level of force and the presence of the trained anarchist-style protesters that were present, it will embolden the protesters, and it will escalate the level of violence. And our officers exercised, I think, some very tough and extreme restraint. Rubbish. The people being assaulted and the owners of the property being destroyed had a right to expect the police to intervene and not be spectators to the lawlessness. The law authorized officers to use force to overcome resistance, effect an arrest, and to prevent escape. And if force had been necessary to protect life and property that night, so be it. Concerns about the emboldening the protesters should not weigh in on the decision whether or not to make an arrest when people are being pummeled before your eyes. And just as important, experience has shown that once police engage the most violent members of a crowd, the others either flee or cease being violent. I have no doubt that the officers under the Chief Burnett's command that night were ready and able, and indeed eager to engage the anarchists who turned a peaceful protest into a riot. It's a shame that they were so poorly led. Contrary to Chief Burnett's claims, there was nothing unprecedented about the rioters' tactics. No, not unprecedented in the last 3 months, maybe. But it is definitely unprecedented when you think about a police force and you say, and you know how you used to view them as they are there to help you no matter what. If there's a police officer around and someone's acting that way, they are stopped. Well, because of political reasons, that has all changed recently. But let me get back to this. Contrary to Chief Burnett's claims, there was nothing unprecedented about the riotous tactics on Berkeley campus last week. Black-clad malcontents have been causing trouble at protests since 1990s, and police leaders more able than Chief Burnett have developed tactics that deal with them. She should have anticipated the reception Mr. Yiannopoulos would receive and planned accordingly. And if she couldn't provide the leadership the job required, she should have asked for help. UC Berkeley was the cradle of free speech movement in the 1960s. Today, it's where free speech goes to die. I have two things to add to this. One, I've seen videos, and I've seen the police standing inside the building, doing nothing, not even watching most of them. 5 or 6 were on the balcony behind glass watching, and occasionally went on to the balcony to look like they were busy, pointing their guns, which they were doing nothing. That was for the cameras. They probably looked down and said, "You ready to film?" And the mainstream media started filming them, pretending to point their guns on the balcony. Then, most of the rioters, a lot of the rioters there, were either throwing mini bombs or fireworks right at the police, and they did nothing. And lastly, this is appalling to me. I don't know why it bothered me, but it bothered me very much. In one of the videos, and I should have saved it, I really don't know why I didn't, and I'm going to try to find it. But in the video, it's a close-up of the back of a policeman, okay? And he's in the midst of a small little crowd. It's a close-up scene, so there's about 10 people in the frame. And he's standing there, and he's got, it says police on the back of his coat. It's the only reason I knew. He was in the crowd. And there's a bonfire there. And he picks up a red Make America Great Again hat off the floor, and the crowd starts going, "Burn it, burn it!" And he throws it in the fire. I'm going to tell you, from the back of his head and his profile that I caught a glimpse of, he's a white, blonde-headed, maybe 22-year-old, maybe 20. He's a young guy. Okay? But yeah, that pissed me off. Comment below. Subscribe if you haven't already subscribed, and hit the bell next to the subscribe button. This way you get the breaking news stories before anyone else. Please, give us a like. We really appreciate those likes. Thank you for that. And definitely share this with your friends on Facebook and Twitter. Get the word out. This is an important story here that, you know, in the beginning it tells you how to be a good person, and then it tells you everything that she should have done. And what we can't stop remembering that the police are awesome, and that, you know, if there are police around, they will help you. That situation there in California is out of control. Thanks for visiting. See you next time, and next time on Not Fake News.